When I was 17, my parents divorced. In retrospect, it's not so much the divorce that was painful, it was everything that it meant. That my parents didn't really love each other, that maybe they never had. My mom was pregnant when they married, that they weren't happy. As their oldest child, I wondered if perhaps things might have been different if only I'd been brilliant enough or attractive enough. Or would they even have married if I hadn't been born? Sharing those memories is still painful, even decades after the fact. But as I get older, I recognize that some of my greatest strengths were born of that sadness. For example, my desire to have a happy marriage and a happy family life is resolute. Period. My household is far from perfect, but we're happy. When someone I know is affected by a divorce, I understand. I know that the situation is complicated and that, regardless of why the marriage is dissolving, the experience is wrenching. My drive, my intense focus on improvement, is likely a means of trying to measure up, and I'm quite certain that my laser-like focus on encouraging and mentoring is my attempt to be the encouraging voice I wanted to hear. Difficulties we don't deserve happen to all of us, yet when we dream, we begin to make meaning of these challenges. We give ourselves hope, and we can hope that the sorrow and pain we've walked through will help lighten someone else's load. Using challenges as a springboard. When there's something we want to accomplish, the power to achieve that dream often comes from facing our most wrenching sadness. That was certainly the case for Emily Orton, a school teacher turned stay-at-home mother in New York City. Emily Orton, running down a dream. By the time my daughter Lily was 4 months old, she was showing signs of developmental delay. Despite reassurances from my midwife and my pediatrician, I wearied myself with inconclusive internet research about Down syndrome. My husband called me paranoid. Finally, when Lily was 6 months old, blood tests revealed the microscopic extra chromosome that shook our paradigm. There was some reeling and some relief. At least now I didn't have to worry if anything was wrong. I could get to work. Genuine acceptance and resilient humor, two of my husband's hallmark qualities, buoyed us over the first few hours of transition. He wanted to make t-shirts that said, "We put the O in chromosome," or "I'm down with Downs." He talked of how our 4 older children would be jealous of the cool trips Lily would get to take with us in our wild retirement years. Encouragement from friends and family enveloped us as a whirlwind of evaluations and a battery of medical tests ensued. Through it all, I held my girl. I nuzzled her soft, warm head. I considered her future. So much was still uncertain, but I knew she would have to work hard for every achievement. I wanted to do something hard, too. The circumstances of my life aligned to make a marathon possible. I wanted to honor Lily by running a marathon. I began training by taking the stairs instead of the elevator. I had worked up to 10 miles with my friend Heather, who served as my trainer and partner, when Lily began having seizures. Finding a pediatric neurologist on a holiday weekend was a saga unto itself. The doctor interpreted the massive EEG scribbles as electrical misfires in Lily's brain. She was swiftly admitted into the pediatric ward. Lily obliged us by having a seizure shortly after being hooked up to the EEG and video monitors. She was immediately diagnosed with hypsarrhythmia. Lily was subjected to more tests than I ever took in college. I learned how to give injections to my infant. By day 2 of our hospital vigil, I needed to run. I knew I might have to give up the marathon, but my body needed to move. My husband took over the bedside duties while I cared for and held our other children, slept in my own bed, and ran with Heather. The crisp morning air, the steady rhythm of our tandem footfall, the oxygen, the endorphins, and the encouragement of my dear friend convinced me that, more than ever, I needed to run the marathon. Lily came home and I continued training. The neurologist assured me that the chaotic electrical impulses in her brain weren't causing damage. She descended into a developmental pause. I ran. She became very fat. I ran. Her eyes were dull and unfocused. I ran. She never smiled. I ran. My husband